Welcome to this short video about the 10-mark questions with the item, and what I'd like to do today is specifically focus on effectively finding the hooks within these items. So a quick reminder of what the 10-mark question is. It appears on all three papers. Paper 1 is in the education section, paper 2 each topic has 2 10-markers, one with an item, one without, and paper 3, it's in the crime section. You have 15 minutes to answer each, 7.5 minutes per paragraph. Ensure that you've got 2 wonderfully balanced paragraphs. Make sure you read the item carefully. This will give you the hooks. Please make sure that you quote them. You even use the word item. It just really makes it easy for the examiner to find where you have got those item hooks. The hooks are placed for you by the examiner for you to develop and add your knowledge to. Also look for the question hooks also to give you further opportunity to show application of knowledge. So this is easier said than done. Students commented to me after the exam last year that the items were shorter than expected. I just remember after paper 1 and they were like, oh my God, Kate, look at the item. They were just like so short. And you'll see what I mean when I go through them. But certainly the items that were in the textbooks and the practice questions had a lot more detail in them and had a few more sentences than what actually appeared in the exams. And something like this can throw even the most confident of students. So it's just knowing what to expect a little bit more. So from looking at the items from the previous exam series from 2017, I noticed that each item did definitely have a similar structure. Each was split into 2 paragraphs, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, even if the second one only had 1 sentence in it. Some had a little bit of a preamble or a bit of waffle. Each had 2 item hooks. Some might even have had 3. And lastly, they all had a link to the second part of the question that you had to apply your knowledge to. So all in all, they all had between 3 and 5 sentences. So you can see that they are not long at all. So let's have a look at some of the examples from the 3 papers from 2017. So then you can have a little bit of a go at finding the hooks. So as you can see, this follows the structure that I've just outlined. It starts with a bit of a preamble. So since 1980s, a major aim of government policies has been to increase parental choice. Some students mistakenly took this as one of the hooks. However, you can tell that it isn't because it just basically rewrites the question. However, it's in the second sentence that the hooks appear. These are a wider range of school types was hook 1, which is where you can discuss what parental choice that they actually have, and you could talk about what different types of schools were available. So for example, specialist schools, faith schools, whatever else. The second hook was league tables on school performance, and once again you can explain what they are and how did parents use these league tables. And the final sentence that you can see with all the questions links to the second part of the question, pupils' experience of education. As you can see in the question, pupils' experience. This could be as simple as putting a comment such as students were able to enjoy more support. Middle class students, for example, they got more revision time, they had a tailored learning experiences, so then they had a much more positive experience of school. It was something like that that we were looking for to get that application. Analysis was gained by comparing the different types of parents. So you could compare how middle class parents were different from working class parents, and to what extent does parental choice exist. Was parentocracy a myth, for example? You could have mentioned that in your analysis. The second item is from paper 2. This is section A, from family. It starts with, again, a little bit of an amble because it sort of mentions, immigrants, which is from the question, migrants, immigrants. But it does lead quickly on to the first hooks, immigrants from the Commonwealth countries, such as India and Jamaica. Well, this could actually be seen as 2 hooks because you've got India and you've got Jamaica, and they lead to 2 different types of household structures. The third hook comes from the European Union countries such as Poland, And again, you could talk about the household structures that you've got there. And there was a sneaky little bit of analysis that you could have had, because you could talk about the age structure of the population as well while you were analysing these household structures. Once again, the final sentence, migration patterns affect the household structures, is just again another reminder to link back to the question, e.g. for how does it affect household structures, to get the application marks. You could gain analysis by comparing the different groups, so Indian compared to Jamaican families, and analysing the extent to which the patterns remain true. So for example, do all Indian or Asian families have higher than average amount of children, or higher than average fertility rates? Do they have bigger household structures, extended family structures as well? Or are they lone parents? You could compare it. Okay. The third example also comes from paper 2. This was from section B, and I'm just going to go through the belief section. And once again, a little bit of an amble. Religion gives people's principles, and that's what we're talking about. It then leads to the first hook, principles by which they can live their lives. You could link it into things by talking about how people use religion in a secular world, or as some students discussed, especially some of my students discussed, how some religions could lead people to challenge injustice, and they actually talked about the civil rights movement there. The second hook is the that people that can act in different ways, in which might have unforeseen consequences, and this is talking about how religious beliefs can lead people to act in ways that could lead to, for example, economic changes. For example, Calvinist religion, that was mentioned quite a few times also. And once again, the final sentence is reminding you to link back to the question with the social change. So make sure you make it explicitly obvious in stating what the actual change is. So is it leading to democratic change, economic change, social change, justice, equality, or whatever, and just make sure you link to that. Finally, paper 3 was from crime, and this was the longest out of the 3 items. As you can see, there was a clear preamble sentence there, like on paper 1, every society sets goals, which is talking about this point here, the mainstream goals. It's the next sentence that puts the goals into context and links to the hook. Not everybody has an equal chance to achieve the goals by the legitimate means. Another hook then quickly follows. Some young people may underachieve at school, indicating Cohen, for example, the working class boys. And the final hook, or the third hook, is the deprived, unstable neighbourhoods, indicating someone like Cloward and Nolan would have scored there as well. Once again, the final sentence links back to the question, and again, to gain the application marks, you need to be explicit or obvious in stating how do these subcultures respond. So do they invert the society's values? Do they turn to utilitarian crime or non-utilitarian crime or anything like that? I just want to mention as well that there was some confusion over Merton. Merton strain theory. Well, Merton's research focuses on the individual responses to the goals to society and not the subcultural responses. So if they worded, or your students worded it something like that, they failed to score, because that was the difference between the two, that Cohen picks up on Merton's failure, that he only looked at individuals, and Cohen looks at the group responses. Unless, and they didn't mark students down if they explicitly applied to a subculture. So they could have scored if they mentioned Merton, but they had to be talking in a subcultural way, if that makes sense. However, Merton could also have been used in analysis to show the knowledge of the variety of responses to the goals as well. So in summarise, the item will be short. It will be between 3 and 5 sentences. The hooks are most commonly in sentence 2 and 3. The final sentence, the lone sentence in the second paragraph, always hooks to the question, and you will need to apply to it to gain the application marks, especially if you're looking to get to the top band. So what I would suggest that you do is take your time, read the item carefully as well as the question to make sure you link to all the hooks, and this will ensure that you gain decent marks. So as always, massive thank you for listening to this short video. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to comment. I often answer within a day, anything exam related to help you out. I've got plenty of other videos on 10 markers if that is the thing that you want to focus on. So by all means, explore what else I've popped on my channel. But thank you for listening, especially with my croaky voice. I don't know where it's gone, but hopefully it'll come back soon. Yes, as always, any comments, just stick them in the box below and I will get back to you. Have a great day and I shall speak to you soon. Bye.